We've come down to the main Gibbon house today to catch up with Stuart and find out how all of our Gibbons are getting on. Now we've received many questions from our Facebook supporters and I know that we're alongside the enclosure that contains Mikado and Alex, and a lot of our supporters are firm favourites of Mikado and vice versa. So the first question is, how are Sam and Sasak doing?
They're getting along great. They really enjoy their big new enclosure down the bottom there, or the big enclosure at the bottom there where they are. So they're really happy and really enjoying themselves.
That's great. A question from Karen. She would like to know whether Sam and Sasak try and out-sing their neighbours.
I'm not sure they intentionally out-sing Peanuts, but they are certainly the loudest pair of Gibbons we have, so it does certainly scare Peanuts a little bit when they really sing inside the house.
Cool. A question from Jenny. How are Adidas and Delume doing? Now obviously we have moved them off of public view, so how are they getting on?
Yeah, Adidas and Delume are really very well. They do tend to prefer the slightly quieter areas anyway, so being off show has allowed them to sort of relax a bit more and actually spend a bit more time together, so yeah, it's been really good.
Great. And a question from Liz. How do Paul and Kitty get along, being different types of Gibbon?
Well, excellently, yeah. I mean, I guess it could be a dodgy situation, but they get on really well. They groom together occasionally and they like to play and chase around, so it's quite a positive relationship for both of them.
So a question now from Paula. She wanted to know how Mikado was doing and whether or not he was still living with Alex, and we're outside their newly revamped enclosure, and they're still getting on great?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, well, he's disappeared now, but Mikado's still got bags of energy, probably more than Alex can really sort of cope with, but they get along really well. They're often grooming together, and it's hopefully going to be a good relationship for them to build upon.
That's great. A question from Lisa. She says that Pung Yo always comes bounding across when he sees her and often hangs on the fence and tips his head upside down. Can you translate this Gibbon body language for me, please?
Well, Pung Yo is quite a human-focused animal, so he does tend to come over to the fence line whenever people are around. I guess he's probably begging for food as opposed to anything else. That I don't think that tilting the head back has any particular meaning in Gibbon language. Great.
And a question from Katie. She would like to know who Kitty shares an enclosure with.
Okay, so Kitty lives with Paul, who we talked about just prior to this question.
Okay. A question from Marina. She'd like to know how Fox and Nini are.
Fox and Nini are both brilliant. They both really enjoy their newly expanded enclosures. Fox is outside most of the day, pretty much every day, so yeah, I think they're really very happy.
That's great. A question from Judith. She would like to know, and this might be a difficult one for you to answer, Stuart, but she would like to know who is the most fun-loving.
Well, I mean, all of the Gibbons do love a good bit of fun and playtime. Mikado is generally one that's always up for a bit of playing, and he's usually messing around in his enclosure.
Great. And a question from Jane. She says that she fell in love with little Zach when she last visited and would love to know how he's getting on.
Yeah, Zach's still doing excellently, obviously growing up quite quickly, but spends a lot more time playing with his dad at the moment, so yeah, he's excellent, he's really good.
That's great. And a question from Sarah, and this is to do with obviously our new pairing. So we had Tien from one group and we had Kim from another group, and we've popped them together and they are now in the big enclosure with the beautiful natural trees where the Siamangs used to live. And Sarah would like an update as to how Tien and Kim are getting along.
Yeah, but they're also getting along very well. They seem to be forming a really good, close relationship, which is exactly what we'd hoped would happen. Kim is actually just undergoing her colour change into her mature female colours, so hopefully once that is fully completed, then that will really cement their relationship together. So.
That's great to hear. A question from Jo. She would like to know if Vieta and Tito are a couple.
Tito and Vieta certainly are a couple. Perhaps not our most closely bonded couple, but they are a couple, and they do groom and do everything we would expect a couple to be doing. So.
Great. Now we've just got time for one more question. This is from Natalie. She would like to know if Kitty still sucks her thumb.
Kitty does still suck her thumb, yes. I don't know where this behaviour came from, but yeah, it's one of her favourite little pastimes to sit there sucking her thumb, watching the world go by.
Great, so that's great, Stuart. Thank you very much for that. That's all we've got time for our Facebook followers. I'll just let Sarah leave the camera running just a few more seconds because Mikado is doing his very best, showing us his circus skills. So we'll just leave you with that image. Apologies about the reflection. It is obviously very, very difficult to film these guys, but hopefully we've answered your questions, and all of those Mikado supporters will be pleased that he's been front and centre during this video update, and we'll bring you